Live and pre-recorded, this is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on December 3rd to hit the internets on December 4th. If you're new to the show, you can always listen on iTunes, TuneIn, Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13. So today's a very, very special episode. I have Jared. You may know him as at WFAN Trades on Twitter. We go over a lot of the, this is an episode highly soaked in geekdom of Mike Francesa. He made the announcement today that he will be reuniting for one night only, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, and Jared and I get into it and discuss all the elements, if you will. So enough's enough, let's get to it. Okay, so with us today is, you know him on Twitter at WFAN Trades. This is Jared. Jared, thank you for coming on the Red Ticket Blues podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor. I to be on the same podcast that Phil Mushnick and Rinsman were on is just, it's mind blowing. I'm going to put this on my resume one day.
Yeah, life's worth of resumes. Okay, life's worth of resume. Yes. So, Jared, obviously we're going to get into a little bit of Mike Francesa, that is, and about his.
Who? Oh. Okay.
Yeah, he hosts a show. I don't know. People are really into him. Fanboys, I guess. Kind of losers. But tell me a little bit about yourself.
So basically, like a lot of the fellow Mongo Nation people and just guys in general that follow the account, kind of grew up on Mike and the Mad Dog. Grew up in New York. Was an avid listener. I'm proud / embarrassed to say I used to be a caller. My most famous WFAN story might not even be a call to Mike and the Dog. It might have been a call to Imus when I was, maybe like 13. I called up for a bobblehead.
Nice.
I just thought it would be some stupid, all right. Yeah, he asked me if I had nude pictures of my sister. I said, I think my voice cracked and I said no. And I mean, obviously I don't have a sister, and if I did,
dude,
whatever.
You're 13. What the fuck?
Yeah. So he told me to hold on and sent me the bobblehead, which I actually tweeted out a picture of, and I'll do it again. It's unbelievable. It's hilarious. Him in a Mets uniform with the curly hair. It's so good. So yeah, that was kind of back in the day, calling up Imus. And over the years, I've called up Mike and the Dog, and then just Mike, and then I think my number got banned over the years. I can't confirm that or deny that, but there's a lot of clues that I have. I think my phone number doesn't work anymore.
Why do you think you got banned?
There's been times when I know absolutely no one else is calling, and it rings and then it hangs up right away, or it rings for 30 rings, and to get a busy signal is one thing,
right,
but
right.
It hung up right away as soon as it picks up is very kind of sketchy. But then I don't care. I'd rather make fun of people on Twitter than actually try to call in and try to talk to Mike and like you do.
Yeah.
No.
Try to hang in there until you eventually get the heave-ho.
Well, listen, you provided, when you think about it, the greatest. I'm literally doing it right now with the hands, like he did when he was trying to make a point to you, with the mouth open. I think that's one of my favorite, when Mike was on TV, photos I've ever seen in my life. It's the look of,
at my funeral. I want that displayed on a big easel right next to my body. Because I don't know if it's going to get any better than that.
And it's got your name on the screen. Like, if it didn't have your name on the screen.
No, it did have the name on the screen.
Then you'd be like, you have to explain it to people, but yeah. So that's a roundabout way of saying, kind of grew up in New York, Mike and the Mad Dog fan. Family and I recently relocated to Georgia, of all places. So we have family down here, and no more cold winters for us. We're enjoying the southern lifestyle, and a lot of New Yorkers down here. That's very. That's kind of why we moved away.
This time of year, that has to be a beautiful thing, being in Georgia, definitely. We came into interaction way before this whole Mongo Nation thing started. You were involved with the Mike Francesa. Well, there's actually MikeFrancesa.com and then the MikeFrancesa.com, and you were a big part of the board there. I started as a lurker, and became a contributor. So for all the people wondering what the fuck we're talking about, let them know about this, themikefrancesa.com.
The the easiest way I could explain it. There's an original board, which is MikeFrancesa.com. A couple of the guys, including myself, kind of decided to move on for many reasons. Kind of jumped around a couple of different boards, landed on the Mike Francesa.
What? There's more than one now?
There's more than one now. I think I've watched that video a couple of times before. So, you know, there was like 5 or 6 of us out there who kind of co-founded it, I guess you could say. And it grew, and this was before Twitter. So it's like explaining to somebody what the world was like before the internet. You just can't even fathom it. This is what we did. We do everything that we do on Twitter now, we did on the board back then. Every stupid saying by Mike, every stupid caller, every prove this, stat wrong that he just did, every single thing we did back then. Granted, it was in a, I don't want to say clunky kind of way, because it was not as just free-flowing one after the other as Twitter, high interaction rate, I guess you'd call it, on Twitter. But there'd be just pages and pages and pages of posts after posts, and it was amazing. Like you said, you started off as a lurker, and it just grew, and it grew, and it grew into like this unbelievable thing. And the couple of moments that I remember big about the board back in the day, number one, me calling up like the day before. I don't know why I remember this, but calling up the day before Thanksgiving and shouting out the board, and that's the famous. There's more than one now. I think that's on YouTube actually, unless somebody took it down. So that's out there, and then I don't know. It just grew, and then the Super Bowl contests over the years.
Oh, that was a great area. Not to interrupt you there. That was a great venue to find all the answers to the Super Bowl contest. And I remember Mike would always be like, "Stay away from the websites. There are websites out there that the answers that they say that are not always the right ones." Okay, just remember that.
I mean, well, like 95% of the time they were the.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's going to be an audio score, and it was like the back of lineman on the '92 Bills. Like, how the hell? Like, I don't know how we got that. I didn't get them. Somebody on the board looked them up, and that was always the big spike every year. It was just we would go from 100 and on a daily basis, 85, 100, 125 active users maybe on, and it would just be 800 people, and they're all, kind of random people, just because that was the place to go to for answers.
Scavengers.
Wow, that was I'm sorry, I got distracted by Calvin Johnson making a one-handed catch. Sorry.
It happens.
So that was kind of the big, thing with the board, and then Twitter came along, and the board is still active. People still use the board. I just find Twitter a lot easier. I certainly interact with more people. The idea of the WFN Trades account grew into something I never even could fathom, and I don't want to speak for Audio Mongo either. But I don't think either one of us had any idea that this would ever grow. And he's got 3 times as many followers as I do. I don't think either one of us, not to put words in his mouth, but ever expected it to grow into what it has.
Yeah, because WFAN Trades, your account, I think, it started out as, I believe, was, people would tweet at you ridiculous trades brought up by the idiots on WFAN, and then you would basically retweet it. And now it's become it's more of like a personal account for you, and it's just grown from there. Exactly. You bring up being on Twitter, obviously, and sort of the birth of Mongo Nation, as what people know it as now on Twitter. And, the board and Mongo Nation, they don't always agree with certain things. I think, but the main thing is Mike. We are, like you said, almost to the point of embarrassingly large fanboys of a sports radio host who is more arrogant than you could possibly imagine.
That's a good way to put it.
And the fanboys united so much that there was FrancesaCon 1. Now, you were not at FrancesaCon 1, correct?
Correct. I didn't live in the city at the time, and I don't know, kind of when I had my business, getting down Saturday was kind of like, whatever, you know.
So I understand that completely. The first FrancesaCon, I probably talked about this on another podcast. It was a great attempt at bringing together a bunch of just, idiots, and basically tried to fit everyone into a very small bar, which were a lot of the juice was.
Right.
Amir Khan, the boxer, was there. It was very, very odd appearance. He probably had no.
Was there a jet there too?
I think it was Mohammed Wilkerson. Maybe I think was there too. Was that?
No, it was somebody.
Oh, it was Cumberland.
Cumberland, yeah. I was going to say somebody far less famous than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Ken O'Brien? No,
yeah, right.
No,
yeah, I heard Namath's going to be at FrancesaCon 3.
As long as he's wearing the jacket. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But the first one, I mean, the guys there, FrancesaCon, the guys that arranged the event, they had a great idea of having it sort of be a bar crawl. But I think what they took into consideration, if people are just lazy, and when you add alcohol in, it didn't really have a lot of juice after the first bar.
Right.
FrancesaCon 2 last year, you were there. What were you expecting at this event?
I was expecting a good size gathering based off of the initial reaction from Twitter. That's kind of how I based a lot of it on. People, I'm excited, can't wait to go. And there was a couple of guys I was interacting with on Twitter about going down there. And the moment it hit me, I'll never forget this. I got off the subway with a guy dressed as Mike, and he had like you could look at what Greg's. That's a guy on Twitter, Greg's. I got off the Metro North coming down from Stanford with him, and we were lightly talking on the train, and I looked over on the subway platform wherever we got off. It was like 15 guys in a group, just bombed out of their mind. We're going to fucking Francesa. They're singing Mike and the Mad Dog theme. I'm like, what the hell is this? So there was, and that was the pocket. I'll never. There's a pocket of, like I said, 15 guys. Another group, there was like 8 guys. There was guys on the street dressed as Mike. And I think then it hit me. I was like, oh shit, this is more than just an informal gathering of some fans for a snowy day in January. So. Like I said, we get in there and, kind of in the lobby, if you remember downstairs, it was a coat check area.
Yeah.
The bar. It was kind of chill down there.
I thought that was what it was, actually, when we first get there. It was like, not that it was classy, but exactly. They're checking coats. They got a nice little bar there. Nice.
They got the straws for the drinks.
Exactly. There's women there. Oh, hi, how are you? I'm just like, wow, this is pretty fucking formal.
Right.
And then you go into the lion den of just animals.
Yeah, and like I said, the second moment of what the fuck was when you walk up the big stairs, and when you're upstairs and they had the merch table set up and like the stage, and over the years I've met the guy who literally runs at Mike Francesa NY. I kind of waved over to him, said hello. There was a couple other guys, and there was a lot more people there that I quite honestly wasn't expecting. I saw you, Justin Cohen, a lot of the different guys were there, and then it was just people, just a lot of people. I was like, who the fuck are these people? Like, just one after another. And then, obviously from the YouTube video that we've watched 899 times, when for the pre-stuff it was great, and, Bill and Mike were hilarious on stage doing the impression. And when Mike came out, it was just the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that YouTube video of when he comes out to when he stops talking, it's probably about 8 minutes and change. It is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And every time I have a few drinks in me, I sort of look at my wife and I'm like, you want to put on the FrancesaCon video? I'm going to put on the FrancesaCon video. And she rolls her eyes, looks at me and says, no. And then I wait for her to just walk out of the room. Then I turn it on. She comes back and says, no, not again. No. That it's amazing.
The energy and I mean, everybody was recording. I recorded on my phone. I don't think I've looked at my recording of it once. I've looked at the one that's got a million views on Twitter or on YouTube rather, because he held the camera still the whole time, and you could hear the chants perfectly, and you could see Mike perfectly. And I think I was standing with a couple of people when we were looking around, and Timmy Russo from the board, I think I was standing with, and we were looking around going, like, this is unfucking believable. Like, we just kept saying the same thing. Like, this is unbelievable. The amount of people that are here, the amount of energy that's in this small venue over here. Like you said, when Mike came out, it was just absolutely crazy.
And I like how Mike also. I think this is also forgotten too with FrancesaCon, just because of all the ridiculous things that happen there. How about Mike dressing like some 1990s like rapper, got the Timberlands and the large black jacket. I don't think that's brought up enough. Yeah, exactly. He almost looks like he's ready to get out of the Pathfinder, like a Mobb Deep video or something.
And meanwhile, if you fast forward a little bit, when he was in the lobby area signing autographs, I don't know how he didn't pass out, because I almost passed out.
Yeah, man.
I was just drenched in. I mean, meanwhile, he wasn't, pinned between, all these people over here like we were waiting for an autograph. But oh man, it was hot.
I give him credit. He stayed there for hours.
Oh, he stayed there for the entire thing, and it was really. I got to go in the back and kind of see the guys. Bill and Mike, after they were derobing, if you will, from their imitation up there. And it was
derobe.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It was funny. It was nice to talk to them, and we were kind of laughing about the whole thing. And then that view, you can kind of see the whole area of people gathered around Mike. And I was like, holy fuck! I'm like, this is going to take 3.5 hours to get his autograph, to get his picture. And it did. It basically. And it was a cop there just yelling at people, and it was kind of, I think when I left, first of all, I didn't charge my phone the entire time, so I think my phone ran out, I don't know, maybe with about an hour left, 45 minutes left in the show. I had to stop some guy in Penn Station to try to get my phone charged. That part was a disaster. That's another lesson learned for
bring your external charger.
Bring the external charger. I'm going to bring a backup battery. I might buy an extra iPhone just in case.
You are prepared.
And I think I said it to you. I said it to a bunch of people. Like, I think I tweeted out that night. Like, I remember my thoughts that night. I had no idea what the fuck just happened. Like, I remember getting home going, "What the fuck just happened?" It was, and then you wondered what Mike's reaction would be on Monday. And again, I think the video, I don't know if it was Orange Funhouse or Poulos, one of them popped it up there, like where he goes, what did he say? I was blown away by
he was blown away by everything. Absolutely.
Yeah. So so was I. Oh, yeah.
So with all of this, we're going back in time here. So let's come to the present here. So this week, Mike had been teasing this big announcement, and Mike has teased announcements before, and they've usually been very underwhelming. I think we remember the revolutionary app that was basically supposed to do our taxes and change the oil for us, but now it's basically just a paperweight. It's as useful as a Flowbee or a fanny pack. It's garbage. It basically just sits and collects dust. The Revolutionary Roadshow app is garbage. So,
do you know why the Revolutionary app did not work?
Why is that?
Do you know why? Because Mike tried to argue with I can't even say it without laughing. The pre-recorded caller saying, "Hey, Mike, I think
10 seconds of glory."
Gonna be really Mike was trying to argue with them. It was a pre-recorded voice.
10 seconds of glory. He hated that.
10 seconds. So the guy's on there because he physically couldn't cut them off unless.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. No.
Yeah, he's arguing with a voicemail on an answering machine.
That's like when he argues over like someone's press conference. They say, "Yeah, so listen, we didn't put the guy in. How can he say that?" Mike, you're in the studio.
The man can't hear you.
Yeah, he's going to continue talking at the same tone and the same thought that he had before you opened your mouth, and you have no effect on him whatsoever. So this is
the revolutionary app. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
So what did you think this announcement was today? I mean, excuse me. Well, he released it. He announced the announcement today. But what did you think when he first heard that he had some big thing to tell everyone? What did you think it was?
100% TV. I mean,
Same here.
Nothing else even entered my mind. It was as Audio Mongo mentioned. The question is at this point, SNY or MSG?
Yeah.
Or in Mike's case, it'd probably be MSG3 or something like that. But that was the only thing. Nothing even remotely else popped into my mind until today when there were sauces and rumblings and whatnot, which
a lot of sauce
wound up coming true.
So in case you don't know, and if you do know. So why am I saying in case you don't? If you're listening to this, you know what the hell's going on, because if you're listening to this and you don't know, but there's really something wrong with you. So the announcement.
You find another podcast.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. So the announcement was that for one night only, on March 30th, Mike and the Mad Dog will reunite at Radio City Music Hall for a charity event with the Garden of Dreams. Now, he did a simulcast on Dog Show today, which is a little weird. Mike playing second fiddle. But I did notice, my wife brought this up actually, that they started the show with their usual banter, dog screaming, Mike saying something not really that funny, but dog laughs a lot. And
right.
Dog said, well, we'll get to this, Mikey. But we got a big announcement, and you'll read that later. And my wife said, of course, they talked before. And Mike said, I'm going to read it. I'm going to make the announcement. Yeah. So he made the announcement. And again, so March 30th, one night only, Radio City Music Hall. I guess it's going to be some sort of gala. Now, today, if you wanted to get tickets weren't available, but you could get the pre-sale through the Garden of Dreams. The website was up. The website was down. I mean, this was classic Mike technology here, where he tells you to go to a website and it's not working.
I hope somebody recorded this. Mike's explanation today about the proper way to go about securing tickets was maybe the worst explanation of anything I've ever heard. Not even technology. I've never heard a poor explanation. He basically said, every time he tried to announce how to do it, he said call. And then he always would correct himself after saying call and then just say interact with the website. Again, the first time in the history of my life I've ever heard somebody say go ahead and interact with the website. But, I mean, that
makes me feel like I should, saddle up to a computer and be like, hi, how are you? You from around here?
You got to power the computer on. Okay, yes, I've rebooted my computer. Your fucking RadioCity.com is broken.
Interact.
Yeah. So right, like you said, the technology was just completely shit show from the beginning. First of all, I was listening on TuneIn today. So when at every benchmark, if you will, I was a good 6.5 minutes behind. So it was really great to get everything. Twitter already moved on to the third subject. I'm like, they're getting together March 30th. And everybody's like, yeah, we know.
Don't you love when people do that? Yeah, I know.
After I just stopped tweeting about like the actual news, I'm like, I sound so fucking stupid right now. I'm like,
I have to do that for whatever reason. My cable seems to be like 20 seconds behind everyone else's. So I'll just be like, wow, what a great play. By the time I tweet that, they're 5 plays ahead, and people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the TuneIn app, I actually kept stopping it and then rebooting it in the attempts that it would, get speedier, if you will, catch up. It didn't. I think it kept falling more and more behind. I was like, oh, God, this is ridiculous. But, yeah, I think finally the link to the Radio City is actually up and working now. I tweeted out before that it didn't work, and then somebody sent me the actual link, and it's good. So I don't even know what I did. I guess you register to register. Is that what it is? You register?
I actually went to the site. It was all they asked for is your name and your email address, and then it says thank you. We'll be contacting you. So I guess that's I guess. I mean, usually it's associated with those pre-sale things associated with a credit card. You have to put a bunch of information in. I feel like I'm now just going to be spammed by Garden of Dreams for like the next 6 months.
You want to see the Rockettes? No,
Yeah.
I don't want to see the Rockettes. Somebody comes up to say
I'm going to
it.
get at least 3 emails telling to lighten my holiday by going to see the Rockettes that I have no fucking intentions of seeing. So I'm glad I just entered that in, and I'll probably sell it to other stuff too. So, let's see here. What should we get into? Now, he said there's going to be big guests, big name guests at this. And musical guests, too, which scares me even more than the musical guests. Any idea?
Southside Johnny?
Yeah, or the Smithereens, maybe.
Well, first, I mean, I can't take credit for this because I read it today. Somebody said Sour Shoes, which would make a lot of sense because
right.
I think he's on with Dog, and he couldn't be any more famous in the Mike and the Mad Dog community.
Absolutely.
I mean, Sour Shoes would make a lot of sense. I mean, you know, if you're talking Southside Johnny and the other summer extravaganza bands, I mean, you might as well just, you know, put on Q104 or something.
Yeah.
Like, why are we even bothering?
The musical guests definitely scare me. If they can't get A-listers, I think it's going to be like, you know, not even D-listers.
Does anybody in Mongo Nation, do they play instruments? Would they be willing?
Yeah, they'd have to throw out the bad light on that one, see if they can get anyone in there. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't trust Mike and the Mad Dog to come up with good musical guests that we would actually care about.
Yeah, they're both like 60 years old, exactly. So.
Bruce, and I'm not even a Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah,
fan,
that would be the only one that everyone would be blown away by and they like, exactly. Mike would want some sort of like old school, because Mike is, listen, let's be honest, Mike is perpetually mired in like the 1950s, even though pretty sure he was born in the 60s. He's like a 1950s guy. He'd probably want some sort of doo-wop thing, and he'd just sit there and snap his fingers and be like, yeah.
That actually leads me to, has Mike ever talked about music that he listens to? I don't remember anything.
Yeah, but it seems like when he brings up like famous movie stars, like, oh yeah, Howard Hughes, Ava Gardner, it's like stuff, you know, Jesus, dude, they were old when you were a kid.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So what do you think though? Actually, like big name guests, you think like sports guests, like former athletes? I mean, A-Rod's got to be there, right? Will A-Rod be there?
God, I mean, A-Rod's too big. You want to talk about like. It's going to sound bad. Like, what are you going to tell me? Carl Banks? I mean, all right. You know, it's like
maybe
I don't know.
Jeremy Shockey, Michael Strahan,
patch things up with the old Giants. That would be Greg Jeffries. That'd be great. Everybody that Mike and the Mad Dog had problems with over the years.
They all show up and just roast both of them.
Right.
And they're not told about the roast either. Mike would be fuming.
Right. Is Mike close enough with Parcells? Is Parcells too big of a name? That'd be nice.
Parcells could ride in on the horse they bought together and then ride out.
What about Mr. T? Mr. T. He's down in Florida.
That's right. But
by
that. Then the season will be over. So.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. That's very true.
And imagine the humble brags at that place are just going to be ridiculous. By Mike, you know, I know this guy, I know that guy. Oh, I see him in the crowd. I've known him for 30 years. I'm glad everyone could be here. I know you said he's too A-list, but I would just love to see A-Rod there. A-Rod in the front row when everyone stops clapping, he's still clapping, standing up, just completely awkward as normal.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Maybe his cousin, the guys Mike sat with in that famous picture.
He doesn't know him, but he's talking to him. Right.
Right. I have no idea who they are. You're sitting in this fucking box in this seat. They just happen to be there. Okay. Of course they did.
Classic bullshitter. And let's see here. So, you know, Mike made a big deal on the radio about all this, and I would tend to think, I guess it's just an assumption, that, you know, most of the people that listen to Mike and the Mad Dog are just, you know, regular schlubs, blue collar, just public Joes. And he made us all worked up for this announcement. Then later on in the day says, listen, folks, tickets aren't going to be cheap. They're not going to be cheap at all. And I guess later on, I didn't hear this. Somebody on Twitter I saw said this. Some of the tickets are going for $1,500 and the cheap seats for $50. If I'm incorrect about that, I'm sorry. But did you hear that?
I did not hear the 1,500. I heard he specifically said 50, 75, 150.
Oh, okay.
As a basis. So I know for a fact he said cheapest 50 rather, all the way up to 150. From what I heard, I had to shut it off basically. But from what I heard, he didn't mention a price on the high end. He just kept saying high end. He kept saying VIP. He kept saying cocktail hour. It's almost like he was embarrassed to even put out a number. If the $1,500 is real, I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Who exactly would pay that, but
I didn't hear all of it exactly. That's secondhand. So I don't need tweets telling me that I'm full of shit. Someone just said that, and I'm just repeating it. So good research there by Brian. Red Ticket Blues. But $150, $50. I don't know. I guess I want to go for $50.
It goes for kids. It goes for kids with cancer. They all have cancer. I don't know.
The sick kids. What's it? Charity toys.
They're all sick.
Toys for sick kids.
Yeah, toys for sick kids. Hi, kid. Are you sick? Yes. Here's a toy. I think that's.
I mean, we should. We're not making fun of sick kids. We're just making fun of the fact that Mike annually has this. Promotes this benefit with possibly the worst name I've ever heard of it. The Toys for Sick Kids. You couldn't come up with something better than that?
They're all sick. They're very sick kids. They need our money. So yeah.
So what do you think? This was my initial reaction to this was, wow. So they're going to appear together. Mike has said that he's going to be at FrancesaCon 3. And last year he said, hey, if you told me, I would have brought the real thing, referring to Mad Dog.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was sort of, getting ready, getting geared up for FrancesaCon 3 to see if Mad Dog would show up. Now, I don't know. I look at it and say, all right, well, they're doing this for charity as well. I get it. But I feel like FrancesaCon sort of lost some of that moxie, some of that grit. Even if the dog does show up, because it's sort of like the cat's out of the bag. Am I out of line? What do you think?
I look at it this way. I never expected Dog to show up at FrancesaCon for a number of reasons. I don't know. I just part of it's Mike's ego. You know what I mean? It's called FrancesaCon, and although I don't know Mike and the Mad Dog, I don't think Dog would give a shit about that. But I think Mike looks at it as his day in a way.
But conversely, he because of that ego, you never know. He could be like, "Hey, I was lucky enough. Hey, you were lucky enough that at my festival, I allowed you to come on."
He could,
Yeah. But your side also makes plenty of sense too. That it's my day. Back the fuck up and stay on serious.
Yeah, and like I said, if I had an expectation going in that Dog was going to be there, I'd be like, all right, the cat's out of the bag, if you will. I never expected him to be there. I still don't expect him to be there. I don't know. I don't look at it as a knock to FrancesaCon. I couldn't be any more excited about it. I think it's going to be just as good, even better than last year, considering the amount of buzz that it is. And I think Mike mentioned today, if I'm not mistaken, Radio City holds like 5,000 people. That's a lot of fucking people. You know what I mean? And in a way, FrancesaCon was, oh shit, it's you. We bumped into a million people.
Right.
They gave us the name tags. People had their Twitter handle. People from the board. It was a good way just to kind of bullshit with people. Oh shit, I've talked to you for 3 years. I've never actually met you. I can't even picture doing that at Radio City. And
imagine the fucking hobnobbing, white wine spritzer crowd there eating caviar. And what do half the people there probably wouldn't even know what the fuck they were there for. There's these silly radio people, but we're just here. I'm here. We came in the new car. Look at my jacket. Look, he bought me this. I feel like that's the kind of crew that would be there. I guess you're right. From your point of view, the fact that you didn't expect Dog to be there, that makes sense. But I feel like I don't know, maybe Dog could have been there briefly at FrancesaCon to just say, hey, we are going to do this later. But you're right, though. I mean, there could be more egocentric things going on there where maybe Dog doesn't show up at all. So.
Well, here's my question. I'm sure there's a legit answer to this. I don't know what it is. Why did they pick today to make this announcement? Like,
Thursday, too.
What? Yeah, I mean, if you want to make this argument, you can announce it at FrancesaCon, and then it's, holy shit,
exactly.
They made this announcement. And then that takes it to another level. I don't know. I don't really understand why today.
Thinking about it, just as we're speaking now, I have to go back on what I said. Imagine if Mad Dog did show up at FrancesaCon and said, hey, everyone, we're going to be at this one night only thing. You know what? Most of the people at FrancesaCon would not be forking over the cash to go to this gala event and hobnob with jerk-offs.
True.
So
yeah.
Or it could also be too that we all know that Mike has friends in the garden, Barry Watkins and Jim Dolan. So. But even when, yours truly calls about Jim Dolan, Mike says he's never talked to him in his life. They're not friends. It's a bunch of bullshit. But that could be part of it, too, saying, hey, you've been so kind to us throughout the years. And maybe this is another indication that Mike has a TV deal coming with MSG.
I would suspect that. I mean, that would be, will it be, shown on TV? And I don't know. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Knowing MSG like I remember it, they'll show it every fucking day of the year if they have to, because
not a lot of programming there.
Yeah, although SNY and yes, repeat the same stuff over and over too. But I mean, I don't know. To me, it makes total sense that he would go back to MSG. I say back. He was there 20 plus years ago over here. But yeah, I mean, that would make sense considering all of his buddies there. And quite honestly, probably should have gone there in the first place besides, but I don't know, Fox offered him a boatload of money, I guess.
They basically just drove the truck up to his house and poured it all over his massive lawn and said, come do a national show when no one gives a shit about you nationally. And he said, hey, all right, cool.
Right. And from what we've heard on the show, Mike negotiated his own deal. He forgot the caveat, the very important part where he would like to be actually on, TV. Somehow he omitted that, but he did negotiate the, whatever they were paying to simulcast the show. But the part where he actually gets bumped out for, 15-year-old soccer from Colombia is whatever. But
folks, I don't have an agent. I don't have an agent and negotiate my own deals. I don't have an agent. But hearing that for how many decades to make him look like a horse's ass with the Fox thing. I mean, I love Mike, I do, but that was a really awful look because he brags about it nonstop, and he was made to look like a fool.
Right. And I mean, is it fair to say, this is speculation too, but is it fair to say that Fox signed him? Did they have any intention of really going ahead and, hey, we got Mike Francesa, or was it just like, I don't know, we'd kind of rather not have him be somewhere else, and it's just a name to add to the roster of talent. I don't know. It seems like they didn't give a shit when he left.
I know Mark Mongo had the idea that Fox got him to, because their headquarters is in the West Coast, so they got him to sort of plant Fox Sports in New York to get more people to watch the channel, which was another interesting theory. But I understand where you're coming from, where it's like, really, was Fox News, where the board of directors sitting there being like, we got to have this Mike Francesa guy. This is our brand.
Right. And listen, it would have, in a way, it would have helped out a lot, putting Fox Sports 1 on the map, but they were just so laughably inconsistent with, scheduling. I remember turning it on. I'm like, what the fuck now? What is this now? Like, why isn't he on? And then, it's like people I tweeted out what channel is Fox Sports 2? What the fuck's Fox Sports 2? I mean, Cablevision, I don't even think it was shown in high def. And I'm like, oh God, this is just, I don't have the patience for this. I like turning on Yes, when he was on Yes.
Easy.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
and use it as background noise, basically, if anything else.
Exactly.
But
so I had this humble brag here, but I had Bob Race from the New York Daily News on yesterday, and of course we had to bring up Francesa, and we talked about his future because, as Mike has told us several times over past year or so, I mean, I've never seen a guy float his hypothetical retirement more than him. But he talked about how the end may be near. He may do something else, and my wife, a great provider of the show, even though we don't hear her voice right now. We're talking, he's talking about the simulcast, rumors of Mike and the Mad Dog return, and WFAN's future with Mike. So we're seeing a one night only thing. There's a lot of buzz. We're 4 months before this thing. Do you think this is a one night thing, or do you think that going forward, maybe this is more to, there's smoke, there's fire?
There's two things at play. Number one, when is Dog's contract?
That I don't know.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure we could, Mons, can you look that up? Sorry.
Eddie, get the phone.
We'll look that up during the break. But if Dog's got, I don't know, make up a number, 4 years left, 5 years left, I mean, it would be hard to imagine them continuing in any way, shape, or form. If Dog's got 2 years left on this deal, I don't know. Do they start a pod? The rumor was, let's start a podcast. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's at some point. I think. I don't know. It would be nice. Again, I'm not holding my breath over here. Could Mike go to satellite? I don't think that's impossible. I mean, if he gets, the problem is he's not the problem. The fact is, he's made many hints and just outright disgust with FAN, right? I mean, I think this is a whole nother podcast if you want. Yeah, I think the whole
most people,
Boomer and Carton thing, I think that bothers him a lot. It sounds like they back him up, or back them up rather, and kind of leave him hanging on a lot of stuff. That's what it sounds like. It's a listener. I don't know.
Nobody
nobody
could talk to their employer the way he does. They'd be fired immediately. Even celebrities, you don't see them talking about because everyone answers to somebody. I don't care who you are. You don't hear anyone ever saying that, no matter how powerful they are. I'm just looking at this here. This is a story from the Daily News. August 2013, Mad Dog signs 3-year deal with XM. So I don't know when it actually ended per se, or when that was extended, but you have to look at least 2016. So
it's not. I don't know. It's not. It's not impossible. I don't know. It's not. You didn't say 2019, so that's
true. That's true. All right. So Jared, I want to thank you for coming on here. It was a pleasure. I think you bring a lot of insight. As definitely a veteran, board Mongo member. Fanboy of Mike Francesa, and that's nothing to be embarrassed about, by the way.
No.
No. If you want to follow Jared on Twitter, it's at WFAN Trades. He's an amazing follow, and I mean that sincerely. So Jared, thank you for coming on.
Brian, thank you. Keep up the great work with the podcast, and I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing you again at FrancesaCon, and all the guys. I should say guys, girls. Mrs. Trades is coming. The Mongettes, everybody. It's going to be. I think it's going to really blow away what last year was, and I really can't wait to go and see you in all your glory. And I'm like, well, that's a good way to describe it. That's
me and all my glory. Jesus, I got to do something to get that glory glow going, because you're going to be very disappointed, Jared.
Right.
So no, I appreciate it. Everything you just said is absolutely true. And yes, I believe my wife is coming. She's back and forth. She wants to see the spectacle, but she may be a little uneasy of being around the spectacle, so to speak. So it should be a lot of fun.
All right.
So again,
sounds good, man.
Thank you for having me on, and thanks for the call.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate Jared for coming on. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It really was a lot of fun doing. And we'll just have to wait and see what Mike does for the next chapter of the story. Am I right? Huh? You can always listen to the show on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me at BrianBuck13 on Twitter. And at Red Ticket Blues, if you shall. like us on Facebook, and give a review in any of the venues you listen to the podcast on today. I hope you enjoyed it. There are podcasts every week if you're new to the show, so subscribe and love every second of it, right? Am I right? That's it. I'm out of here.
Number one. Still